updates that are coming at this point of time. According to the sources, the United States is also monitoring the Iranian Shia militant movement and in Iraq, and has intelligence that they intend to hit some US infrastructure in the area as well. All right, Major General SVP Singh continues to be with us. Thank you, sir, for your patience. And, as per the statements and as per the information that we are able to gather, Shia terrorists are also being monitored. The surveillance is heightened. US has said that it is also monitoring the other territories where there is heightened movement, which tracks the Shia terrorists. All right, how do you look at the US's statement right now? It has made it very clear earlier, and it continues to be leading this narrative with complete authority against Iran. And while Iran continues to also reinforce their defense and stand that they are also going to hit the US civilians and the main targets that are on their hit list, what is going to be the next way scenario if we see that US also continuing to monitor these Shia terrorist movements?
Well, firstly, now it is the United States which will be the lead country, the lead agency, and they'll control the narrative. After having entered the war, I say entered the war, because you don't go and form nations at your will. So that is one aspect. Secondly, heightened intelligence and surveillance, well, it's part of the military operations. It's an ongoing process, whether it is peacetime or wartime. And Israel has been very good at it. No doubt, they also suffered lack of intelligence and surveillance when Hamas attacked them on 7th October, a year and a half back. But however, this is going to be the norm now. Every country in the Middle East, I would say, going beyond Israel and also US, will be on high alert for their own national security. As I mentioned in the last participation of this debate, that 8 nations which have got the US military bases there, naturally, it's a natural part of military operation, they'll be a targeting objective of the Iranians. The question is, there are also news coming that Iranians have launched missile attacks post this American actions or nuclear strike with their B-2 bombers. So that means that Iran is going to continue with its fight. Well, not only the Iranian pride, it's the Persian pride which has now come into play. And the Middle East, the other countries, the Arab countries, have to now realize the stakes are higher for the Arab nations in this context, because they might have to come to a stage to pick sides. On one side, Arab nations, at least 3 of them, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE, even have got very close military relations with America, apart from the bases it's being there. So with that, we saw it. Now, the other angle which is going to come up in a geopolitical aspect is going to be the factor of China and Russia. As we see it at this moment, well, geopolitically, China has bowed down. It considers itself to be a parallel power to USA. It has not come to par with the expectations of the Iranians or of itself. They are marking time, and for what, time will tell. So geopolitically, Russia too has stepped back, perhaps because of Ukraine war for which they are committed. But you see, Russia has also got major interest in Iran. They got that Bushehr nuclear plant, which Russians have established, and possibly their workers are still there. They help in operating. So they had warned Americans not to attack these nuclear sites. What America has done is they have refrained from attacking the Bushehr site. So they kept Russia at bay. But to expect Russia to fall in line with America, which Trump has been trying by doling out ceasefire at the cost of territory which Ukraine is expected to lose. So that's why the ceasefire agreement in the Ukraine-Russian war is also not coming into effect. So this geopolitical game is now going to open out. Is perhaps going to the regional thing is going to have a chessboard play on very much, and only one hopes that somewhere America now shows some restraint. I'll say not going for the next part, the phase two of its bombing operation, but try to get Iran on board. There are many views in America itself the that there should be no further nuclear or atomic war aspects to be taken forward. They're also hardcore opposing this participation of America. And equally, there are people who want that America should finish off Iran. But the survey sometime back, few days back, said 64% of Americans are against the war, and even a higher percentage of Republicans are against the war. How they now see it, I think the next 24, 48 hours will tell how the public and the Congress accepts the decisions which have been taken by the American administration, the president, and the others alongside with them. Now, so that much is there. Iran will continue. You see, other thing is that there are also reports that the uranium part of it, the material, they have shifted some other place, the Iranians. The plutonium, uranium part, the centrifuge part, they have shifted to some other places so that their safeguards are intact. One thing, as per my view, is that this nuclear power ambition or the aim of Iranians that will continue. Iran is not going to abandon, especially when they state that it is for peaceful purposes. And so international rule-based order, which is the American rule-based order, perhaps has to take stock. And already the Ukraine war has said that the international rule-based order has to look afresh. BRICS and SCO are other organizations which are challenging the international based order, which is based on America, G7, G20. So all these things in the geopolitical aspect are going to have a greater role to play. And why I've emphasized on geopolitical, ultimately the military operations are for escalation. And then it is said escalate to de-escalate. That implies the geopolitical angle, the indulgence of the political authorities of the countries. It is also said when the talks were on, bargain, break, and bargain. So the bargaining was on, 6 rounds of talks. Israel torpedoed it, so they broke. Maybe the bargain can come up, and that perhaps may be the more mature way of taking forward a very volatile situation, a tinderbox in the Middle East, West Asia, which perhaps would do good to the world if it is avoided, because then even I don't think it can turn into a world war, because even the Ukraine-Russian war was talked about as a likely world war taking place. I call it right from the beginning the European war. And here it should remain, and it will remain a regional war. But what happens, even if it is not a hot war, it is the logistics chain, the logistics element, which affects worldwide the economy of nations, which are so much interdependent upon each other. So perhaps I think the powers to be could get together and play their role. And talking of our own country, India, well, I will say when the Prime Minister at one time offered mediation.
Major General SVP Singh, thank you very much, sir, for your patience and your detailed comments on this very escalation. The details are being monitored very closely here at NewsX. And in fact, all my viewers, thank you very much for being with us. And all my guests who have been kind enough to be with us and patient for these comments. Now, with more news and updates on the other side, stay tuned, viewers.